Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at AAVE. This is going to be a higher time frame video. We do also have a lower time frame video up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we've got price history here from December 2017. Now we do not have all the price history here, so we always need to be open to a couple of things here that, because we don't have all the data here, we need to be open to a few interpretations of what this move could be, because without having a point to pull off of, it becomes very difficult to project these things to the upside. Now, if we are looking at this in this way, what we could also say is that within the structure could just be simply ABC. Now, if this is the case, what we could potentially have is a completed A wave here. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be looking for would be a B wave to the downside. Now, the most common target area for a B wave is between the 50% and this 786. So if we are looking at this in this way, it would be very unlikely that this move is completed to the downside yet, which is why we need to be careful of that possibility. We could see continuation down here. Now, if we did have to see a move to the downside in 3 waves into this typical zone, one of the most common areas would be this golden pocket area here. If we did have to move down there, potentially our 1-to-1 would be towards this 15,476, but we would have to be careful towards this 782. This and these higher levels here of this 4,905 to this 2,906. So if we do move down this low, potentially this would actually push these targets down. If we do complete higher up here, potentially to this 50%, this then pushes these targets up. So we'll have to see exactly how this plays out. Now, if we look at this slightly different, what we could argue is that this move in itself from over here is looking to extend to the upside, in which case what we could then be looking for is the same idea, except what we're starting with here is an A wave at this point, looking for a B wave, and then looking for the C wave to the upside. Now, the support zone here is going to be much the same with this, because effectively I don't have a low to pull off of on the previous one, so I have just taken it from that point. Now, if we are looking at this, the same idea is what we'd be looking for. 3-wave structure to the downside, looking for this 0.382 at the higher end of this, and then the 786 would be the lower zone we're looking for. Now, that 382 is sitting towards this 35.76, and this is interesting to me because of this bit of structure over here. If we do see price push down one more time, potentially this could look to push into this area. We do also have a target box here between this 27.90 to this 1934. That could be quite an interesting zone if we do see price push back down into this level. If we do see this, what we could actually then see is that C wave to the upside. Now, we always need to be aware there is a potential we can come down deeper here. Now, one other way we could potentially look at this is, what we could always argue is that because we have the potential that this is A and B, we could also argue that this is something like this 1, 2, and then we're looking for a third wave. Now, given the length of this move to the upside, this wouldn't make a lot of sense because we've had overlap here. So we couldn't argue this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because we've actually overlapped with this point here, which would be our wave 1 high. So because of that fact, what I'm looking for here, and another interpretation of this, is that we could actually be looking for something along these lines where this actually becomes a 1 and a 2. So the idea would be the same here. We'd still be looking for the potential for continuation to the downside because we wouldn't have reached the most common target area for a wave 2. And if we do look to come down one more time, potentially we could still look to move back down into this green support zone area. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price continue down here, then we potentially could be looking for this zone. We could also argue that this is completed here, but it would have been a very shallow wave 2. Now, if we are looking at something like this, then what we'd be looking for is effectively seeing a 5-wave structure developing to the upside here. Now, the typical zone we would see in this case would actually be this looking to complete somewhere between the 786 and the 618 zone. So this would actually be implying that we have an extension in the wave 1, we have 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking to develop for 3, 4, and a 5 to the upside. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we do start to see price move to the upside here in 5 waves, what we could then get is an additional 4th and a 5th wave and look to possibly target out some of these higher levels here. So the higher zone of that would be that 20k, and then we have this 0.618, which would be here towards this 5,580 level. So going to be keeping an eye on this. Now, because we are looking for that possibility that we could be incomplete on this move to the downside, the way that I'm currently looking at this structure is that we could actually still be looking at this as a bigger ABC pattern. So if this is the case, what we would be saying is that we have this as a W wave into here for A, this is a B, and then a 5-wave move down for C. Now, within this count, effectively, what we'd then be looking for is a move back up into this higher rejection area. Now we have come into this 0.236, which is a very rare target for a wave B. Now, if we do see price continue to push up here, possibly we could see this 0.382 at this 130 getting hit. We have other targets here, 179 at that 50%. Golden pocket area here is very interesting to me. This 271 to this 248, because of these highs that we have in this area here, this would be quite an interesting zone should we see price push to the upside in this way. Alternatively, the highest we'd want to be looking for if we're looking for a B wave is this 0.786, unless this is going to become a flat. And now if this is going to become a flat, technically speaking, we can look to actually take this high and see something like this, but it would be very early days in trying to say that something like that is playing out. So we'll have to just be aware of that as as price develops here. But effectively what I'm looking for in the shorter term is a smaller three-wave structure to the upside here, potentially looking to bring us up into this 50% or this 382 level. That would be the primary areas that I'm looking at, though we need to respect the fact that we have actually tested this 0.236, which could be a very shallow B wave here. So we need to just be aware of that idea that if we do look to break to the downside here, from our current level, what we'd be looking for is a possible one-to-one would actually be all the way down here at $5.85, and then the 0.618, which would be the minimum requirement we'd be looking for, would be towards this 1668 as a level. Now, if we do look to push up a little bit higher here, for instance, towards this zone of this 382, which would be at this $130 level, this would actually bring us into this 0.618 starting to align with this previous low that we've got over here, the swing low. And if we do move up higher, then potentially that one-to-one could start falling into that zone. So going to be keeping an eye on that if we do see price moving to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as incomplete, there's two ways that I'm currently looking at the structure. What we could argue is that this move over here is a W wave, where this is A, B, and C, and then we're looking for this as a potential X wave. And then what we're looking for here effectively is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside if this is going to become a flat correction. So that would be looking at this as A, B, and then looking for a C wave. Or alternatively, we could just get something like this as A, B, and C. So as a one-to-one of the W wave over here, what we have is this 98.13. So if we do see three waves to the upside and we see a move into this zone, that could be enough to actually complete the move. If, however, we do look to push up higher here, potentially we could be looking to target out some of these areas here, 116.60, 129.73, and this higher level here of this 154.14. Now, if we did see a move up towards this 1618 level, this would be more probable that we're actually looking at something like a flat here, where this is A, B, and C, because this would actually be a common target level for that as a flat correction. Now, if I overlay this here, we can see that would then bring us between this 382 and this 50%. We do have a target box up here between this 198 and this 141. There are some levels in there that I'm keeping an eye on, particularly towards that 50%. We'd have this weekly and this monthly naked point of control in here. So we'd be interested to see how we actually react to the upside here. If we do see three waves up, then this could tie into the idea of this B wave coming into play here, and then we see that break to the downside. So we need to be on the lookout for that idea. The other way we could argue that this is taking place is looking at this as just a bigger B wave here. Now, the problem that I have with this is that this B wave would be substantially bigger than this A wave over here. Now, this can happen sometimes, so we need to be open to that idea. It is also possible that this could be 1, 2, and then if we do manage to move up past 213, potentially we could be setting up a 5-wave structure here. But like I said, because it's so wide here, it becomes less likely that this is going to be a wave 2, but we can't write it out really until we actually break down past this 45.61. If we lose this low, this would invalidate the idea of this being a ABC as a zigzag here, and would also invalidate the idea of that break to the upside here. We would be looking for this 213. If we did see something along this lines where we see 3, 4, and 5, something like this, then what we could actually see play out here is that this move could then get a 3-wave move to the downside, and then we could look for that continuation to the upside from there. So we're going to have to watch this level. As long as we hold this low here of this 45.61, we can potentially look to push directly to the upside here. But like I said, I have a bit of a query about this just because of the size of this B wave or this wave 2 if it looks to actually extend up. Now, having a look at this whole area here, looking at this as a range, what we can see is that we're still currently below this negative point of control here. And if we do see price move to the upside, I will be keeping an eye on this higher level here of this 296 as a retest of this value area high. Now, what we could actually see here is that if we are looking at this idea of this bigger A, B, and a C, this would actually be looking to bring us up towards this golden pocket area. So if we do see price start to push to the upside here, we could potentially see this develop over time where this B wave actually looks to move up into this zone. Alternatively, if we fail to reclaim this point of control here, what we could actually see is we could see price start to fall off directly to the downside. And like I said, if we do move down here, we're going to be keeping an eye on this target box area as a possible zone. We could get a reaction between this 27.90 to this 19.34. We could actually see a reaction down towards the zone. This is also in line with coming back into this value area low. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these levels if we do start to break down and take these lows here of this 46.27. Though as long as that holds, it is still likely to me that we're going to see another move to the upside here. It's just unclear which one of these counts is going to be in play here, when this is A, B, and then we get a 5-wave move as a C wave, or alternatively whether we get this as a bigger W, this is an X, and then we look for this Y wave to the upside here. So going to be on the lookout for this. I am still anticipating that for as long as we hold this 47.26, we could see another move to the upside here before we look for that possibility of that break to the downside. And then if we do get that move to the upside, particularly in this count, we're going to have to watch how this plays out. If we get a move up towards this 213 level, this could actually align with the idea that we're starting to get a bigger 5-wave structure here, though we would have to wait for confirmation of this 4th wave, which is not allowed to cross the high of this move here. Now, we can also argue that within this structure, what we could see is that instead of looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we could actually get is 1, 2 here. We could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another 3-wave move to the downside, holding this low once again, and this could align with the idea of this being 1, 2, 1, 2, which would mean that we'd be actually getting a bigger break to the upside after that point. Although we'd have to be careful that if we just see an ABC to the upside like this, what we could then also just see is that this could be a B wave, and then we look to break down. So the key thing here is if we do start to develop 5-wave structure to the upside here, we're going to have to wait for that confirmation of that additional wave 2, and then get that confirmation that we could be pushing to the upside in a bigger way. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.